What do the farmers of South Dakota say of this president? What do the farmers say of these tariffs, steel, aluminum, and the impact on your South Dakota?
They're still very supportive of the president, but they don't like the trade policies. They understand we've got to have free trade, but they also want to have the elimination of tariffs as much as possible. They don't like the idea of a trade war. So free trade, good trade, but most certainly they don't want to be a part of a trade war.
Do they have the political might to change the dialogue, or is it just a distraction and they're just going to have to suck it up and do what China tells them?
I think the good news in this particular case is that it's bigger than just them, because if we want our GDP to grow in the United States, we have to have a good, fair trade policy. We really need TPP. We need NAFTA to be back in place and operational again. And then we need to be able to address China from a position of strength. If we have 500 million more people that want to buy our products through the TPP countries, the 11 countries in and around the Pacific Rim, that gives us some real added bonus when it comes to negotiating with China. And I think that's what a lot of our folks would like to see. Look, just as an example, if you talk about a trade war with China, and they're one of the largest exporters, they're actually the largest exporter or recipient of our soybeans. If you drop the market on soybeans by 10 cents per bushel, in my state of South Dakota, that's $24 million to real people.
Cash out. Top line cash gone.
That hurts. So you drop it by 30 cents in a day, you're talking $72 million.
Okay, Senator, what is a fair trade with China?
A lot of us would like to see open trade all the way around, and when we recognize that that might be a goal, but we understand the president wants to make it better than what it was. He thinks he can do some better trade deals than we're in a place to begin with. People will support him on that. But they also understand that they don't like the threat. That's just it. They want to see the plan. They want to know, what's your end game? What do you want to get done with this? Where do you want this to end up? And how are you going to do it? Recognizing that for long-term gains, you may be causing some short-term problems. The short-term problems is what they fear right now, because every single day that you suggest that you're not going to have an agreement in place impacts the market. Our economy in the United States has to continue to grow. You not only had to have a good tax policy, which I think we did. I think we've created a very good tax policy long term. Second of all, right now we're undoing regulations at a very rapid rate. That's going to help the economy. But the third piece, workforce development, we're struggling with that in the United States, and you have to have a trade policy in place so we can actually expand into the rest of the world.
Do you not worry about the funding of the tax cuts in place?
Actually, we could not fix the mess that we're in today without having the tax cuts. We will pay for those tax cuts with an increase in GDP. 0.4% increase in GDP pays for the tax cuts. We're already going from 1.8% to where we can show that our economy is growing in excess of 3% today. We believe that we can exceed that, but we can't do it unless all the pieces are in place, and that means a good, solid trade policy.
Speaker Ryan retires. Mitch McConnell's fighting off the different thrusts of the Mueller and the Rosenstein and all the investigation in that. You and Senator Thune represent a bedrock Republican group. How long can you stay with this president? Are the Republicans, the diehard Republicans of the northern Midwest, are they wavering in their support of President Trump?
They're not wavering in their support of President Trump. Well, first of all, because they think basically his concepts of a good market, of actually having a strong military, they like that.
Is it because they don't have an alternative from the Democrats? Is that to your advantage?
It is true that he is not Hillary, and that's very important, and that played a part in the vote. But it was also the idea that he said that he would appoint conservative judges. He has done that. He has honored his word.
Agreed.
He said he would go after unfair trade practices. He's done that. And along with that, he said that he would rebuild this economy. And he is doing that.
What are we going to do about the third tax cut percolating in the Washington Post this morning is the idea that you Republicans want more. You want more tax cuts. Have you had enough tax cuts in South Dakota?
I think part of what we want to do is to make it clear that the personal tax cuts are permanent. I think that's very important because I think that sends another message to the market and it sends some more confidence into the economy.
Okay, but you're going to go to a diner in Vermilion, South Dakota. You're going to go up the Missouri River and you're going to say, hey, I brought you $1 trillion deficit. What are you going to do with chronic, consecutive $1 trillion deficits?
It's bigger than what you're suggesting. We don't have a $1 trillion deficit. We have a $21 we have a $21 trillion debt to begin with, and it was going to go higher all the time and increase unless we did something to increase our GDP.
Then what do you say to your constituents? This is critical. Everett Dirksen wouldn't know this. The people, the fabric of the Midwest can't process a $21 billion complete
$21 trillion.
Trillion, excuse me.
Billion.
Come on.
That's a lot of money, yeah.
What are you going to say to bedrock Republicans about what you and Republicans have wrought in Washington?
We're trying to build an economy. We can't do it under the old tax structure. Our new tax structure is better. The only way that we get out of these deficits is if our economy grows faster than what it is today. Mm-hmm. During John Kennedy's time, they did the same thing. They reduced the taxes to increase the economy. Ronald Reagan was successful in increasing the economy by reducing the amount of tax dollars coming in. Washington does not have a taxing issue. It is a spending issue. We have to reduce the number of taxes. We fixed that now. But until we, as Republicans, actually start looking for the first time in 44 years at the entire budget, we won't fix this thing.
The entire budget is a key phrase.
That is exactly it. Right now, we spend our time and we vote on 28% of what we actually spend. America's got to start facing the fact that we're spending $4.3 trillion. Right. Congress votes on 1.3 of the $4.3 trillion. That's got to stop.